What's going on YouTube? This is Steph reviewing the new JOYING head units. These bad boys have digital audio output, and this is going to be really game changing for all you high audiophiles out there in the car audio industry. Reason being is that we can actually take digital audio and send it to our high-end DSPs and get full digital audio to our DSPs, rather than running analog RCAs and having, reduced bit rate sound quality. So let's dig into it. Let's see what we got here. All right, usually what you're gonna get in the mail, you're gonna get this round cardboard box. It says JOYING on the tape, on the packing tape, and then you'll, comes with a few greeting cards. Let's see what they say. Thanks for supporting and trust on JOYING. With 14 years development in car audio media, JOYING has rich experience to design and produce high quality Android audio related products. If you're satisfied with our products, give us positive feedback. Where does it say? We'll help you resolve any issues and we'll never leave JOYING customers alone with problems, which that's a big thing with these Android head units, is that I've bought a few now and I have bugs in some of them, and they, after a while, these guys overseas, they just, whether it's a language barrier, or they just can't get their tech support to fix the bugs in the Android OS, so they just stop, messaging you or replying to you. A lot of them are just unreliable, and their tech supports are really shady. So you get what you pay for when you're buying an $80 Android head unit. You're gonna get noise in the RCAs, you're gonna get glitches, apps are gonna crash. There's been a few Carplay dongles out there for these Android head units. None of them are really stable. Even like your name brand decks as well, we've been hearing complaints on the forums that obviously the CarPlay is not stable either. So no really difference between a China unit and a name brand unit. The only thing here is what we got is we got digital output. So this is this unit, and is going to be a pretty good game changer for us, because we want that. And they've been finally listening to us. Well, I've been really picking and JOYING's ear about this, emailing them constantly about digital output. Unsure if that helped or not, but we finally got it. So there's a box in a box. This is what we're looking at. So it'd be nice if they eventually, got a nice box design, as we live in too high-end world now, and box designs aren't too hard. So this is the LCD. You're gonna get a box saying LCD display. So I got the 10.1 inch just because I could fit it. I'm gonna modify my dash a bit. I can fit it. I took measurements. So this is your screen. JOYING. Let's take it out of the bag here. I'm gonna do like a really quick unboxing. I'm not gonna go too much in detail. So your display looks very well built. I had another Android unit that it's really heavy too, really heavy. I had another Android unit that was a 10.1 as well. It had the curved, and it was really cheap. You can tell even the paper. There's a plastic paper to cover. Not the ones you would take off, when you get a new device, but it's actually the paper over this LCD protector, and it was actually peeling. So they were really cheap, but this one honestly looks amazing for its quality build. Like, props to them. And back here you'll see these are all adjustable, so you can take your screws. If you want to raise your display, lower it, it's all adjustable. That's another thing. And then, your ribbon cable. Say you want to put your head unit somewhere else and you just want to, mount this directly flat on your dash and do something with fiberglass, or just do some really creative. you can actually order a ribbon cable that's over 1 meter long from JOYING. I'm not sure about the price or whatnot, but it's really reasonable, and that allows you to, you know, if you buy the single DIN or double DIN or whatever DIN you bought from them, you can take this display and put it somewhere and put the head unit somewhere else. That way you're not caught up trying to fit something in your dash that you can't fit, but you can fit a display, right? So that's pretty amazing that they did that. They thought of that. Pretty professional, in my opinion. So this is what came in the box. I also got the tire pressure monitoring system. It's a USB dongle. It's got 4 valves. You screw them on to your valve stems. And I'm pretty sure there's, valve stem locks so they can't come off. So you screw on the nut, use the tool, and you lock your valve stem on with 2 nuts locking so that these can't fly off your vehicle. Just gotta make sure if you do ever get yourself caught up and you need to put air in your tire and need to take this valve stem off, you're gonna have to keep this wrench here in your glove box to remove these valve stems. So, I'm gonna do a test on these TPMS sensors on the bench first before on the vehicle. It was a pretty cheap kit. I think it was like 40 bucks. So let's see what they give you in here. There's your GPS antenna, just your standard Android head unit antenna. What else they give you? Microphone. There's little tabs here. I don't really know what they're for. They look like they're screen related. Probably relocate screen. So that's cool. Your first harness, your power harness. You got your speaker outputs on this one. Let's see, we got here. Great. Speaker outputs, power harness. I guess reverse backup camera is on that same harness. Got rear view camera in. 2 fuses. Then this harness is, I don't know if this is dedicated. It's got a pigtail on it. So they send you 2 harnesses for these units. So the reason being is that this one's just your generic harness. If you ever noticed, when you order an Alpine head unit, they're just split ends and you could just pull them off. Or they send you this harness that's already pre-made with a plug on it. So say you tell them like this head unit is going in a Volkswagen, Dodge, Chev, Jeep, whatever. They'll actually send you the other half and it'll plug right into that, and then another plug into your OEM harness. That way you're not soldering, you're not doing anything. You're actually just physically plugging in. Where a true name brand harness, you're actually splitting these ends off. You're buying a pigtail, you solder them together, shrink tube them, and then you have your plug to go to your factory car audio system, and then you just plug it in. But you're still soldering, crimping, whatever. This is actually direct plug-in, which is nice as well. There's another, so this is for if you're car specific, and this is car generic. So we're not using the car specific in my application. So this is the head unit. So 1 USB, 2 USBs, mic, GPS antenna right there. Digital audio output. It will say V2 out, but I guess the casting, they're just too cheap to redesign the casting and say digital SPDIF out. So they just put it green instead of yellow. Taking all these caps off. So you have your sub out, which is black, which is still a mono. I really wish that they would move on from this mono sub out, because a lot of the amplifiers nowadays, yeah, technically, you know, you do run a mono amplifier for your subwoofers, but you still have 2 RCA inputs on it. So you always have to get an RCA single to Y adapter, because if you only use the one input on your amplifier, it's not going to be, you know, the voltage, the RCA voltage won't be as loud as, so you'll be stuck turning up your gain more. So that makes a difference on the amplifier. So you always got to run a Y splitter from your sub, single wire sub on these. We got left, right inputs, preamp outputs, left, right, front and rear. Video in again, there's a, I guess, so video in is probably with the same with the aux. Another 15 amp fuse there. Then the front. Checking this out here. This comes off, this is probably for something. But anyway, so your screen will clip into that and then snap in. I'm not going to snap them together because I'm not ready for it. But yeah, so that's it. You got an SD card right here, or GPS, whatever. You can kind of see inside here. Oh, and another great thing about this unit is that it's Intel chip base. So I'm not sure if that makes a difference with the digital audio output, because I've seen the PX5 units that they have. You'll see if you look through their pictures when you're, you know, browsing for a head unit, and you actually go on their website and you're browsing through your head units, and then you see a picture of their DSP, the equalizer. The blue interface does not have digital output. You got to look for the head units with the orange sliders on the EQ. I noticed that. So, and reason being, Android 8.1 and Intel. PX5 is no digital output, and they have the blue EQ. So the Intel is the one with the orange EQ and the digital output. So maybe they're able to pull out the DSP. I don't know, it's a different DSP chip. But we are gonna open this thing up. We are gonna open this. Just fix bracket. I wonder if they have a warranty void sticker on this thing. Doesn't look like it. Let's get a screwdriver, let's open this thing up. Alright, we got this thing opened up, and it doesn't really look this much to it. You got your Wi-Fi connector here, and then it looks like it's a 4G module. Oh yeah, these units also have LTE 4G capabilities. I'm sure the cable's in there somewhere. But anyways, it's supposed to have the 4G capabilities. So it looks like the SPDIF is soldered to the motherboard, so it looks like it is due to the Intel processor that they're able to get us digital optical audio out. There's your amplifier chip right there. The processor. Anyways, it's pretty simple. Hopefully JOYING won't void my warranty for opening this thing. They can be pretty understanding that this is a review video on how well their units are built, and you know, trying to get more sales out of it. But yeah. All right, I'm gonna throw the lid back on this thing, and then, like I was saying, your ribbon cable. So you can take this apart right here. You spread your ears, you pull the band out, and then, you know, you can put a longer one on there. So there you have it. We showed you a quick unboxing video, what it looks like inside, quality of the screen, durable is like crazy. So now we're gonna bring this all over to the test bench. We're gonna power it up, and we're gonna put the test tone through it. We're gonna measure RCA voltage, RCA distortion on the scope and on the multimeter. What else are we gonna do? We're gonna try to measure the digital audio output. We're also gonna test sound quality through, I have an amplifier in my shop that has coaxial input. So we're gonna test it through there. We're gonna test if for any humming noise through that as well. So we're gonna go through this whole thing. We're gonna test Apple CarPlay. Yeah, we're just gonna go test as much as we can. I also want to try to install a third-party app on this, like Tidal, because they have high-res, audio streaming music. So we're gonna try to install that, and we're gonna see if it works through digital output, because we don't want it to be, fixed to the JOYING applications. So, but I know worst case scenario, you put your Apple CarPlay, you can put Tidal through Apple CarPlay, your Sirius XM through Apple CarPlay, and they say that Z-Link does work through optical output, so not optical, sorry, coaxial output. So we're gonna go set this up and let's go try it out. We're gonna test RCA for clipping noise. Right now we got our scope hooked up. We have our test tone at 40 Hz 0 dB. We have our volume maxed out on the head unit. And this is through the subwoofer output. We are going to go in I recommend if you use power amp to leave the volume settings where they are, just for clipping purposes, right? We're gonna go in our EQ, our subwoofer. Our subwoofer is also maxed out. So let me go through it again. We have our unit maxed out for volume, our subwoofer volume maxed out. We have our filter set for low pass at 20, high pass at 125. So we have a nice sound wave. They are not square whatsoever. So I'm gonna max out my wave here on my screen. I just wanna show you, this is the gain. I just wanna show you I'm gonna play with the subwoofer volume level, not the head unit's volume level. Okay. So that's at 0. It's 1, 2, 3, 4. I don't know if 0 shuts it off. I think it does. 0 is subwoofer off. So I'm gonna leave it at 10 because we clearly have no distortion. The only thing I've seen on this unit to get clipping, EQ, setup, loudness. This loudness will clip your, watch, square right away. This is a bad sound wave. We don't want to use this sound wave. Now, mind you, if you really want to use loudness, your clipping volume will then be 32. Us audiophiles, we don't use loudness, so she stays off. So now let's check the RCAs for the speakers. Well, let's check out our voltage right now for these for this output. Put our volume level back at 36. Subwoofer, let's make sure she's at 10. That's a weird thing. Like last time, my first test, I didn't have no voltage on my RCAs for my sub. Oh, there you go. I had like 1 volt there. 0.5 volt. So amp gains aren't, they're not really high. Well, the amp gain is gonna have to be turned up a lot higher than it usually is, because you have 0.5 volt on your gains for your sub. Like, Let me double check that because the track just ended in power amp. Yeah. Like 0.5. Let's pause this track and let's go to our speaker levels.
So now I'm hooked up to right, left.
And we'll run the same 40 Hz 0 dB track through right, left. Now I don't know if I have my filters on. Let's check them out just in case because so see, I have my bass filters on. So right now I'm playing this 40 Hz track and I barely have a wave and the unit's maxed out. Now watch me. It was on the right front. I forget if I was on the rear pre-out. Yeah, I was on the rear pre-out. So I just turned down the rear filter, the high pass filter. Check the wave, turning it down right now as we go. So this filter is actually working. So you can definitely count on the high pass filter. And we are maxed out for volume and we have a nice round a wave at the tips of this. Intensity, you guys can see it like it's perfect. So there's no clipping there and the unit's maxed out. That's at 40 Hz, 0 dB. Back into power amp. We'll actually let's put loud on the EQ. See, loud on, and we have clipping. Unit's still maxed out. Let's go back to where we're at. 32 is where your clipping ends with loudness on. All right, so I put loudness back on off. Let's go back into our power amp. Let's do a track. Some of these speakers would be at play. So let's do 3500 Hertz. See if it, nah, my scope won't pick it up well. See if my scope doesn't really pick it up well. So we're gonna have to go to something that's like 500 Hertz. 500 Hertz, 0 dB. So we are at 500 Hertz and now we're gonna max out the volume 36 and we still have a nice round wave. Let's go back into our EQ. Let's check out loudness. So loudness, where units max out, loudness is on, but we do not have clipping. So I guess the loudness, what it does, it boosts the lower frequencies, right, to make it sound more loud. So we can't, so that means we won't have clipping on our tweeters, you know what I mean, with loudness on. So you'd be mostly clipping the woofers and the mid-ranges. Sorry, you wouldn't be clipping the mid-ranges. You wouldn't be clipping the mid-ranges, you wouldn't be clipping your tweeters, you would be clipping your woofers or subs more than anything. So keep this off. So that's our RC test. Let's check out our high level output for our speakers with the internal amp. We now have our speaker high level outputs hooked up to our scope, and we are testing for distortion. So we have our 500 Hz tone, 0 dB playing right down there, and we have our sound wave. So the magic number for the output at 500 Hz, 0 dB, is 32 on the head unit. Then you go 33, starts being square cut at the bottom there, as you can see, and then you get worse and worse as you turn up the volume. So 32 is the cleanest setting on this unit. Now, for instance, let's go into our EQ. And let's add loudness. Still let's try. I wonder if I go to like Hertz. Try that again on the speaker outputs. So loudness is on, and I'm clipping at 28 with loudness on. Loudness off. Loudness is off, and I'm clipping at 40 Hertz at 32. So the internal amp clips at above 32. So 32 is your sweet spot on this head unit for before any clipping with loudness off. I don't recommend running loudness. I just recommend you setting up your EQs properly and going from there. And then also anything you do in the EQ will affect clipping. Like if you're boosting decibels, it's gonna affect clipping at that frequency, right? So you just gotta be very careful what you do. So take it with a grain of salt. That 32 is a sweet spot, but. And there you have it. That is what's going on here. Voltage levels. Let's check out the voltage levels on the RCAs for the speakers. Voltage levels for the RCA for the speakers. We're using a 40 Hertz tone. Let's unhook this scope. Hook back up the RCA preamp. RCA preamp, we have 1.2 for the speaker preamp, not the sub preamp speaker. 1.2 volts. So the preamp voltage is not that strong on these units. So it wouldn't hurt for you to get like a line driver if you're gonna run one of these units. Or if you want to run a DSP, that's pretty much another line driver as well. You can control your inputs and outputs. RCA noise. through the RCA pre-outs. The only thing I've seen right now, the head unit's still the same level, sorry, not the head unit, the home theater receiver when we're doing the coaxial. And the only thing, so go ahead. This has its own noise because it's almost maxed out, so it's gonna have a little bit of surface noise, right? So this unit, the only thing I've noticed, from 0 to 1, you'll have a little pop. You heard that? Try to amplify it a little bit more. So that's the only thing from 1 to mute. You get a little tuck. It's not anything. And then moving your, there's no noise in the chip from maxed out all the way to 1. All right, we have our digital coaxial hooked up to our home theater receiver. I have 14 speakers in this shop ceiling, an 18-inch sub, DJ PA sub powered, so it sounds pretty loud and good in here. So the receiver, as soon as I connected coax, it sees digital, so it's getting a digital input, which is good. Is there an info button? Display. So it's seeing PCM 2.0. It's good. Frequency 48 kilohertz. So that's good. So I have just a music track I played, whatever. Pretty clear. I have anything on here from rock to rap to classical music, whatever. I listen to everything. Let's go. Folders. The folder, I have so many folders on this external hard drive. And another thing that I like is that this receiver's almost maxed out, 66 out of 70, 74. And I unhooked the coax, and the noise that's in the receiver is the same noise that the coax is on with the volume level. So there's this head unit is not outputting any noise. It's not in a vehicle, so there's no other electronics interference. So that's might change in a vehicle setting, but I'm honestly pretty certain that you're not going to get noise through a digital source because it's such a high frequency. So let's try. What we got here? I know the Taylor Swift I Got stuff is CD quality. Or actually, I have it better. Theory of a Dead Man. So, steering wheel controls will work with digital. Sweet. Props on you, JOYING. Now let's check out, see if this DSP does anything with the digital output. It does. So the DSP inside here is actually a true digital DSP. The reason being it's a true digital DSP is that we're actually using a digital source. So that means this DSP chip is changing the sound digitally, then giving it the option to go to a digital coaxial output or go through the amplifier which goes to analog, and then your speaker level outputs, and or your RCA outputs and your sub and whatnot. It's a good chip. This is a really good chip. I'm really impressed. Another thing I thought of is that if you think, if you feel that you don't want any clipping, you know what I mean, and you want a wider volume range, you say like 0 to 1 is a little too sensitive. Well, we know the unit clips at 31, so let's just bring this whole EQ down, you know, the whole range the same, and then this will automatically reduce the dB rate. This is for RCA pre-outs there, because we don't have clipping on digital. Or even if you just want a smoother volume across the bottom. So bring them all down a little bit, so then your 0 to 1 will be smoother. Let's go back to music player.
When I first saw you standing there, you know, was a little hard not to stare, so nervous.
So let's play. Power amp. Still very stupid clear through RC outputs. Like, personally, I didn't hear a difference. So the RCAs are really good quality on this unit. Compared on the same track.
Touching my skin and asking you to do what you've been doing all over again. Oh, it's a beautiful thing. Don't think I can keep it all in. I just gotta let you know what it is that won't let me go. It's your love. It just does something to me. It sends a shock right through me. I can't.
So yeah, so there you have it. RCs are pretty clear, no noise. And there's a little tuck when it goes from 1 to 0. And honestly, so far this unit's performed excellent. I don't really have a negative to it. For the price, like to my door, it was $560. And you have digital sound output to your DSP. Like, what more do you want? You know what I mean? So Amazon Music, like, let's check this out. I'm gonna load up here Amazon Music. No, don't care about cancel. This is also on the coaxial output. Sounds nice and clear. So right now I'm switching between the source on my receiver, between RCA and digital output. So this is RCA, and you hear a difference. Like, feels like the RCA need to boost the volume on the head unit a lot more. Where they trying to listen for sound quality here. The digital coax is a lot more, it seems like the RCAs are a little bit more muddy. You could probably fix that in the DSP on here to get that muddiness away, but you go to... And the coax is a lot louder too. The coax is definitely like top-notch sound. Like, I've not even one complaint on it. And I don't know if you guys know, from 1 to 0 on your RCAs, you get that little tuck. But then you go on coax, you don't have that. So it's on an uninterrupted square waves on COAX Digital. So the COAX is really working nicely. What's the next song? All Country. Most popular song. Like, it just sounds phenomenal. Okay, so we know Amazon works. The only thing I've noticed, when you exit the app, the JOYING stuff puts the playlist on pause, right? So like, say let's try something. Let's open Power Amp. See how Amazon Music is still playing? So that's one thing I noticed. Can we play 2 songs at the same time? So it will stop the other track. And I have issues with my external hard drive. It's very tired. It's not a solid state. So the radio works through coaxial as well. I don't have an antenna, so as you can see. And then you can also slide your finger up here, change the station, which is pretty sweet. You can scan. the bands, FM 3 AM. So there's 3 FM bands. There's a search button. What's this? It's showing a lock. What's this here? Stereo, mono. And then I guess I have to save a preset. So if I want to do this and go here, here, okay, save your preset. Or you can press and hold. Yeah, so the radio works great. Reception, I can't test it out until it's in vehicle, but we're gonna have another in-vehicle test, so that video might be postponed for another couple weeks. Let's check something else out here. Apple CarPlay, let's dive into that. One thing I've noticed with the Z-Link application, you're supposed to be able to register your steering wheel functions to go next and previous. I had a unit that wasn't a JOYING. I'm not going to mention the name of the unit, but it was a name brand unit. They did mention that it does not support CarPlay, but I ended up buying a Z box and hooked it up like everybody else would do to get CarPlay, and it was extremely glitchy, and it didn't function properly. Stuff wouldn't load in the artists when you're playing music. It was just a total nightmare. So this one, I've been playing with it a little bit, and I'm using my phone right now to videotape this part of the video. I'll be using an older phone to do the video. It'll be a little blurry, but it's all I got to work with right now. So I just want to show you guys that I did program the this resistor and to change the song. All right, so I just touched a case ground and it changes the song. So what we're gonna do is we're gonna pause this. We're gonna go into Z-Link. You're supposed to be able to program your steering wheel settings right here. So the issue that I was having here is that when I hit my wire here against case for next, press next recording, holding my button down like I would on my steering wheel, record failed. So that's probably something that JOYING's gonna have to get into and fix it, unless I'm doing it wrong, unless I'm supposed to put it first. I'm supposed to tap it, record fail, try a different button. Record failed. So the steering wheel controls do not work through CarPlay except for your volume up and down, but I'm sure they'll get it. Like it's part of Z-Link. When you get the Z-Link box, it usually registers whether it's a firmware update they need to do. I'm not really too worried. So I'm gonna hook up my other phone now and we're gonna show you CarPlay. And we're gonna see if it's got the same glitches or symptoms as my other unit did. All right, I got my phone plugged in now. Let's jump into the Z-Link interface. So right now, phone is connecting. It says phone not found, then it goes again. And there we got CarPlay. So CarPlay is now up. So the glitch I used to have, say I was playing a song, and I go to like recently added, nothing would pop up. And you'd be like waiting and waiting and waiting and nothing would pop up, and then you'd have to like go through other menus to get something to come up. or nothing would come up under the highlight here. Say I would go here, nothing would be here. So that was a major glitch that I had with the other unit that I had. So that's Carplay for Apple. Then your messages. Then I have messages here. SiriusXM. There was a glitch with SiriusXM 2 before, but seems like everything's loading up nicely now. So, Def Leppard, bring on the... So, that seems to be working very nicely. Favorites, my channels, all my favorites are there. We don't have SiriusXM in on these units, so that's the best way to do it, is through your phone, through Carplay, is just to get it. It works up your data, but it's not that big of a data hike because the SiriusXM sound streams are very low quality. That's why they're not like anything fantastic. So yeah, so that works. Spotify. Maybe because of my SiriusXM was playing in the background, I'm not sure. Just turn this off just in case. Spotify. So Spotify is open now. Recently played. So that works really nicely. I don't have a paid subscription, so just shuffling through music right now. My library, which shouldn't have anything in it. Let's see. But yeah, it's super smooth. Everything works decent. A lot better than my last unit, I'll tell you that. Google Maps. So that seems to be working nicely. And this is all through digital coax output. So this is not using the analog RCAs or speaker amplifier inside the deck. It's pretty fast. Find my spot again. 3D. Double tap to zoom. Then you can zoom out. So that's the maps. Tune in radio, check that out. Oh, I probably got to stop the other application. Didn't learn my lesson the first time, obviously. Tune in radio. So that's open. Local radio. I'll play whatever. Oh, local radio is supposed to be my local radio. By location. So tune-in radio is working. I'm not going to spend much time in the application because I don't really like it. Title, that's going to be the high res. I don't have a subscription, please log into your device, but I will be soon. It's all going to be high-res audio quality tracks. That's why I'm doing the digital audio output. So yeah. So there's CarPlay. So the only fault on CarPlay is the Z-Link steering wheel controls. And that's probably something they could fix really easy with just a flash, so I'm not too worried. Alright, so we installed Power Amp on this thing just quickly. I've never really used the app. It's still scanning my USB for everything in here. Let's see if it works with digital out. JOYING said digital output is not supported by any third-party apps that are going to be installed on here. So I'm curious to see. Still scanning my scanning library. Well, if you can scan it a little bit faster, it'd be great. Okay, it's got some songs showed up. So Power Amp does work through digital output. And it's actually showing us 44 kilohertz. That's the bit rate of the file, but that's the PCM. And the moon comes out to play. It's just that way. So clear. Power Amp also has an EQ, and it does make its own difference. Tone and volumes. You want to boost the volume out, add bass. It all works. Balance works through. So we actually have a true left and right through digital. I know the other Androids, people are trying to use a USB DAC to optical, and people are having an issue getting a left and right. They were getting a mono sound. It turns mono off, on off right here. But they were getting a mono sound. They weren't getting a balance left to right. So there's your Power Amp. So Power Amp does work as a third-party software, and it works in the background as you're doing something. Pull up maps. I don't have a GPS antenna hooked up, so I don't know if it's... Yeah. And it's so fast too, and you go satellite, like check that out. Such a fast processor in this thing. Like, it's actually a computer, like, Jesus. No lag, stupid fast. Like, it doesn't even skip a beat. Now, what about auxiliary? Safety, please concentrate on driving, yada yada yada. There's probably a, oh, even brings you an EQ. Well, that's going to be it for now. I'm pretty confident that any app you install on this unit will work. We're going to do a Google Assistant video. I just set her up. It's pretty much like the little Google Homes there. Hey Google, open music player. So she opened. Right now I have unsupported files on my flash drive, so it's trying to play and saying unsupported file. Hey Google, close music player.
According to CCM.net, the procedure is as follows. 1. Open the music player app. 2. Tap on...
Hey Google, open Bluetooth.
Turning on Bluetooth.
Hey Google, open Z-Link. So, she doesn't work with everything in the head unit. So the music player to open, I have a Z-Link here, right there, for my Carplay. Hey Google, open YouTube.
Opening YouTube.
This car audio fabrication, this guy's pretty good what he does.
For today's review, we're going to do the ILX F309 from up. So stay tuned. Bigger is better. This.
So guys, there we go. Here's the first video from the CES 2019, and it's about my first brand visit at the newest television trends from Skyworth. So far, most people know that there are too many types of displays: liquid crystal displays and OLEDs. Now it gets really confusing as there is so much.
So that's YouTube. If you're ever in a jam with this unit, and you know lost the manual, you want to know how to use it, well, they have an icon right here, Operation Guide. Open that up. Tells you everything you need to know: music, video, help, loading button, EQ, picture viewer, Bluetooth. Tells you how to pair your phone, Bluetooth music, etc., etc. Tells you how to do everything. There's also a calculator. Video player. I don't think I have videos on. Oh, I do. Florida Georgia line. Let's hook back up our coaxial output. The screen's super quality in this too. Like, wow. So we're on digital output right now. Let's talk settings. Settings are another big thing here on these devices that everybody wants to know. We got our Wi-Fi preferences, open and notification, advanced, install certificates, Wi-Fi push button entries. I don't need that. So we're on Wi-Fi. Data usage. That's how much data through Wi-Fi I've used so far. More. Mobile network. See, if I can remember correctly, I remember JOYING said that they can have a 4G, they have an adapter for the 4G chip SIM card that we can put into the unit. It's like a cord, it looks like USB, and you put the 4G chip, but I don't know if they're releasing it yet. Like it's capable, it's there, but I don't know if you have to buy it extra, or I haven't looked into it because I'm not going to be using a data chip on this unit. I just, you know, CarPlay on my phone or whatever. I'm in Canada, so our data plans here are ridiculously in price. Like we pay like the most for our data plans here in Canada. So we have to do alternatives, right? So hotspot. So I can hotspot, tether, Bluetooth tethering. That's probably what I'll do. I'll probably Bluetooth hotspot my phone, so on my phone it just automatically hooks up. I got 10 gigs of data on my phone. So device, display, brightness level, nighttime, night brightness. I guess there's a sensor in this display somewhere. Wallpaper, live wallpapers, seasons, and it comes with this HD season Zen, whatever you want to call it, live wallpaper. Auto black screen, never. So that's pretty cool. So like say it's nighttime, I'm driving, and I want to say the display is too bright. I can auto black screen this device after 3 minutes. I bet you if I touch it, it'll come back up. I'm not going to test it out. I'm not going to waste 3 minutes or cutting video for it. Display net switch. Don't care about that. GPS. Longitude, latitude. When your antenna's hooked up, no signal right now. I'm inside of a building. I don't have it hooked up. Sound, keypad, very annoying keypad tone. Beep, 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 beep. Yeah, no thanks. That's off. I have loud on. I didn't really see a difference, but maybe I was just not noticing it. Amp on, off. I guess that's for the remote wire to turn on and off the remote wire, which is cool. So say you have a subwoofer and you want to turn it off, right? Like you can turn it off. I would assume that's what that's for. Subwoofer, we got a high cut frequency, low cut frequency. Obviously we have these on our amplifiers nowadays, so it's still nice that they put it in here. So say I want it to roll off at 100 hertz, and I want it to play above 20 hertz. So that's where the range of my filter will be. That's where my stuff will play, between 20 hertz and 100 hertz. I really wish they had the roll off on this, or a manual that would tell you, okay, it's gonna roll off at 20 dB or negative 12 dB at 100 hertz. You know what I mean? So you at least know. They're not there yet. We're lucky enough to have digital coax, right? And then your subwoofer level, I didn't play with that. Honestly, it's something that you guys can play with. I'm not going to be using it. I'm going to be doing a coaxial output. So EQ, you can play with it. They all work. Your bandwidth of each frequency is wicked. They don't show this on the JOYING videos, but you actually press the 2.0 right below, and you can actually play with that width of frequency at your 2 kilohertz or whatever. etc. I'm going to put it back at 2.0. So you can actually change your width of your frequency band. You can put it narrow or wide, etc. And then this is an EQ for all your speakers right now. So you can go setup, independent adjustment of front and rear speakers. You can go yes, please. So now this is your front, left, and right EQ is what you see. Slide your screen. Now you have the same EQ, but rear left and rear right. So now what's great about that, say you have a nice, you know, set of speakers in the front, but you have just some coaxials in the back, and you know, you want to either limit their decibels in the back, you can just bring the whole EQ down for the rear, or even if you just you know, want to fine tune your rear speakers, you can do it like that. And then your front speakers, well, you can have a totally different sound stage, right? So that's nice. We'll leave that on, just the demo. The surround, I haven't played with it. Honestly, something like this is not really intriguing to us car audio hi-fi guys. We like to, you know, the crisp sound of the original audio track that's coming out of that track, right? We don't want to modify the sound. Like rear horn surround strength, like what, I don't know what that is, you know, like a rear horn. I guess it's rear tweeter surround strength. But then if you have coaxials, I guess it would boost the upper frequencies in those, like, not a good idea. So I have a power button here, up at top corner, and you can press off. The surround sound has been closed. Thank you. Don't want anything to do that. Now this, hertz rate, bass enhancement. So I guess you could enhance the bass at whatever. So say, I'm trying to, okay, so this would be for your rear stage. This one here, there's an arrow here for your rear stage, and this would be for your front stage. So say at 68 hertz, I want an extra boost of 3 decibels. You can boost it, which I find this part really, really, really stupid, because you can just go in your EQ. Oh, that's probably why they did it, because your frequencies are so jumped. I was gonna say, if you had a 32 band EQ, you could just boost it, right? Like, there's no point of doing it here, but I see what they're getting at. So yeah, it's a decent feature if somebody wants extra bass between, you know, an EQ frequency, depending on your width too, right? So you have narrow, and you would use that to boost it. Field, a driver, co-pilot, rear, all. You can also move it up, down. Keep it at all. Bass filter. So this is another area here. This is the bass filter for your front stage, and your bass filter for your rear stage. So each slider is front and rear. So this is your high cut filter. Say I don't want my speakers to play below, you know, 83 hertz. I put it at 83. If I want the rear speakers not to play below, you know, we'll say 100 hertz, because they're coax and they can't take, you know, the decibels. For low frequencies at high volumes, we'll filter it out at 100 hertz, you know. So that's a decent DSP right there as well. For the average user, the DSP in here is pretty good. Like, if you're gonna compare it to an audio control or a JL audio tweak, or I don't know what's out there for DSPs, but anyways, you can't, because they're not there yet. You know, you don't have an independent EQ per channel. You don't have time delay. And you don't have independent speaker gains. You know what I mean? And it would be really good if they could add the sub level here. Like what's an odd to a button here or an extra slider at the end? Just shrink this all back one and then write sub, and then you just have a slider for your sub. Such a pain in the ass to go through settings, device, subwoofer is open. Because when you're in an app, say for example, I'm in my music player app, and there's an EQ button right here. Boom, EQ's open. Well, where's my sub control? No, I would have to definitely go back, settings, device, sound, subwoofer, then play with it. You know what I mean? Like it's too many steps to get to. So that's a little con, but I won't be using that because I'll be using COAX. So that's nothing to bother me for. Press any key to start. That's for the power, I guess. That's, you press any key, then the device will wake up if you turn it off or something. I'm not sure. Brake wire for video motion. So that's if, like on the name brand aftermarket decks, you have to, you know, hook up that brake wire to watch videos when your vehicle's in motion. Well, you can just turn it on and off here. You know, why put a cheater relay in? Just, you know, it's a lot better to just turn it off, right? Auto start navigation. You want to turn on your navigation when your vehicle boots up? Sure. Temperature switch. Units for Fahrenheit and Celsius. So we're going to keep that in Celsius. That's where I'm at. Mirror view on reverse image. So that's if your backup camera, you want to flip your mirror. You know what I mean? If you're looking at it this way, you're looking at it this way. Turn on or off. Mute audio when reversing. Hate that when that happens. Turn that off. Backlight control, small light control, time control, small light control. So it's an auto dimmer instead of the time. So if it's on time control, I bet you like around 8 o'clock, it'll automatically dim to your time zone, right? So default volume switch. I don't know what that is. GPS mix on. So I would say GPS mix on is when you're on GPS and you want music playing in the background, then your music will fade away, and then they'll tell you your directions, and then your music will come back on. So that's your mix. Lantern settings. So this is definitely for the lights, the button lights. So if I want to go purple, auto loop would be it changes colors. Confirm. I don't have my illumination button hooked, wire hooked up, so they're not on. Sound mixing scale. I don't know what that is. Sound mixing scale. Sound reduce when reversing. See that? I wouldn't mind sound reducing when reversing. That's not bad at all. So I'll use that. Default boot volume. So every time I start up my vehicle, I can set my default boot volume. It's a little high. I'll probably want it around 9. Steering wheel settings. This is amazing for steering wheel controls. What we got, so it's so easy. You hook up your, whether you have to have a CAN adapter or you're just your buttons are just resistance. They all show up here. So when you hold that button, they'll change. Then you press the button you want to program, and then boom. Navi app. So here you can standardize what app you're going to use for navigation. You can either use Google Maps. They have Syngic, whatever the hell that says, pre-installed on this unit. A lot of people use, I think, Waze or something like that. Map data copy. Please choose a map file. So see, I guess this is if you want to put map data in that Syngic map app they have, they'll put the map in. Driver's door position, left or right. So this will, I think, mirror the whole unit, left to right, depending on your seating position. Then this is the launcher. You know what I mean? You change your launcher. I'm gonna keep it on the JOYING launcher because I really like it. Factory. I don't know what the code is for this. It's a 4-digit code. Yeah, I don't know what the code is. Debug JOYING for it. This will open up a whole new book of settings. User, location, security, location. Let's see what the hell this is. Just device locations like you would. Security, find my device on. So this is just your standard Android security. Language and input. See what kind of languages we got. Add a language. So, eek. We added French. Ajoute une langue. Espanol. Oh, there's anything. Yeah, all the languages are in here. Is there Vietnamese? Yeah, it looks like there's Vietnamese. So, China. There's anything. I don't know what the hell the difference between English Canada and English USA. Like, we're all English, man. What the hell? Backup and reset Google settings. Google settings. Let's see what's going on here. So, Android Auto. Developers. See what Android Auto has to say in here. It's an app. That won't work. That won't work because it's through Z-Link on this head unit. So that's a different. So if you want your Android Auto or your Apple CarPlay, there's a Z-Link app on this unit. To do that, no dongle needed, which is amazing. Accessibility, it's the same settings. Developer options. Let's see. Hey, it wasn't done. About device. So this is your build number, system info, car application set, apps. Can't touch them. So this was boots up in the beginning when your unit starts up, right? Intel Airmont 8-core processor, 1.8 gigs, 4 plus 32 gig. I guess that's the onboard ROM. MCU version. There's your MCU version. There's your Bluetooth version. B-Link. CAN version. Unknown. Serial number. Unknown. So, the CAN version, that is going to probably come up once you hook up your CAN bus module. Device info. There's your IMEI number. So I believe with this number, you just use that number to do your 4G. So you'll call that number in, I'm pretty sure. Or you still need that number and a SIM card. Yeah, you still need that number and a SIM card. So there is a SIM card adapter for data on this unit. So that's the settings. Let's move on to another area in this unit. So another thing I want to throw out there, I'm going to be using an audio controlled DSP. So they just came out with a new APK It's called DM Smart DSP. Now what that does, that allows you to control that DSP on Android or on Apple. So this is what it looks like. So this is going to be the DSP I'll be using. So this would be your input view, which you don't use much. You got your gain, your delays. Your output view is where you can have your 30 band EQ, and you can pick if it's going to be channel 1 and 2 or independently. And your delays, ACU base if you're a factory head unit, but we're not going to use that. Presets up here. So this is the platform we'll be using. I just hope that the audio controlled Bluetooth module will be able to connect to this head unit. If not a big deal. I have another Android tablet installed in my vehicle, which is like in my center console. So that tablet could run this application and still tune it, or my laptop or whatever. This is just a perk really to having this DSP. I think that pretty much sums everything right now. Well, there you have it, you guys. We just finished our review video on these Intel-based JOYING head units. They just came out not long ago. They're running Android 8.1 as an OS. Very stable. Haven't really found any glitches into it. You know, I've been playing around with it a lot lately, even on and off this review video, trying to, you know, find out what this thing could really handle, what it could really do. And honestly, I have no complaints whatsoever to say about it. We tested RCA for clipping levels in this video. We tested the pre-out voltages, the internal amplifier. We tested when that was clipping on the head unit on our scope here. The digital coaxial output, we did a few tests with that with our home theater receiver here. We also tested third-party apps with digital output. We wanted to make sure Z-Link worked, which is Carplay. If we installed Tidal or Spotify on the head unit, we wanted to make sure that worked with digital output, and also the FM radio, and all of it works. So no cons. This is pretty much, you know, cat daddy of head units now. Like, say bye to your Kenwoods, your Alpines, your Pioneers. Like, this is what to get. And don't forget, like, these things come with, these things you can get a CAN bus adapter, and it'll show your HVAC controls, everything on here. JOYING has it all up. They even have a bigger display on their other models, like a Tesla style, but they don't have a DSP yet. But I'm sure they will eventually have the Mac Daddy of all head units into one. You know what I mean? They're really focused on vehicle specific base units as well. So like if you drive a Hyundai Veloster, you'll have a molding, so it bolts right in and it looks OEM integrated. So that's a big positive on their side. I know they have one for my Volkswagen. It looks phenomenal. Probably be my next purchase. If you think that this video helped you realize how far they've come in this industry with these Android head units, and like it just like wows you, amazing that they've gone this far, let them know. That's the most important thing you can do as a consumer. Let them know, hey, you guys did an amazing job, because if they don't know, how are they going to improve? Let them know if there's a glitch. Let them know if there's something they can do better in the DSP. Let them know anything that you can think of. Shoot them an email. They take all that into consideration, and that's when they build the next one. And that's where they've gone from, you know, if it wasn't for consumer reviews and all that stuff, they wouldn't be able to build that ultimate unit. This review video was mostly based on digital output for the coax part of it. I want to show them that for us hi-fi guys in the car audio industry, that it's that important to us, and that this video will help sell this feature. They don't really believe that it will help sell. They don't really believe that people want that as a feature. But I'll tell you right now, that's about to change. Once people watch this over hour-long video of this review, they'll definitely have their mindset like, this is what I want this in my car. But thanks for watching. We appreciate it at K&S Diesel. We don't do many review videos, to be honest with you. I don't really have much video editing skills, but hopefully you kind of enjoyed what I had to offer here and what I was able to show you. And I hope you'll like, subscribe, and keep viewing our videos whenever we bring that odd little one out. Every little bit helps. Thanks for watching, guys. Later.